Welcome to episode 44 of Rigor Mortis Paranormal. Tonight's episode includes A Malevolent Teenage Ghost, a Doppelganger from the mean streets of Castle Hills, Saved from a Killer by a Ghost, and a Sobering Thought segment. I am David, this is Robert, Jasmine, Kory, Ian, Jacob, and Christian.
Hello!
What's going on, everybody?
It's good to be back again, fellas.
About time.
That's right.
Sir.
Yeah.
A little hiatus there.
Yeah, you want to tell them why, Davey?
Oh, man. So, yeah, I guess our last episode was on Christmas Day.
Wow.
But, as y'all may know, we all kind of rock and roll a little bit here. And
Dab on
here
a
and
little
there.
bit of music there, yeah. Tap on the foot a couple of times, yeah.
So we got invited. We got invited to do a show, and so we kind of had to take the whole month off just to practice and learn songs.
That sounds like a long time, but that's all we had to.
Yeah, and actually that's all we did basically have is almost like a little over, maybe like a little over a month, but it was rough, but man, it was fucking awesome.
Yeah,
man.
it was fun.
Yeah, it was a really good show.
Yeah, we had so much fun. I mean, everybody was awesome, man. And then even the camera work, Jazz and Mama, she did a good job.
I gotta check that out.
I've
seen the video.
Your son got
Well,
They had real short clips.
recording was
video. Yep.
the audio was probably okay, but the visuals, it was like
They were sobering.
They were so.
there was some dude's head in the middle of the camera the whole time.
Was it
Not
one?
great.
Can you move that fat head, right?
I wanted to have my camera like just reaching way up over like for everyone to see, so I just was like, you know what, I'm just gonna put up with it.
So it's kind of crazy. I guess when we first started, also we were like, we have some old music from we played a couple of years ago, and so we tried playing them. And what were they like? We're like, we got 7 songs or 6 songs or something like that. And it was like they were like 1 minute each. I was like, dude, what in the world? And it's like, after we jammed, we were like, that's 7 songs. Well, that was 7 minutes.
But you know what? Speaking about that, because I was so, man, we all did an awesome job. I was so proud. I was so happy. It was so fun. And hopefully we get more shows. But you know how, like, when you get that vibe and you're like, dude, I got to tell the next person, I can't wait to tell my buddies and stuff like that, the ones that didn't go. And I saw one of my buddies, and I was like, I'm going to tell them because they jam also, but it's kind of one of those, like, they're the one-uppers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then, like, my story is going to become his story. Like, whatever I'm saying, it's just going to be all about them.
Yeah,
And
but
I
better.
knew it. Yeah, one-upper.
Yeah.
But so he started talking about, I was telling him, man, we had a gig. Saturday, it went awesome. Oh, man, it was so badass. And I was happy. And I had a lot of fun. And we were jamming. Oh, my brothers were going off. And the drummer, it was awesome. I'm over there like a little schoolgirl, man. I was like, real happy. And yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, in our band, I was like, fuck.
We can't just sit there and compliment you. They gotta
No,
be about them.
not only that. Okay, check this out, man. He started saying about when he was at a club and he was with this other band I used to be with, because he's been part of 100 bands, right? I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Yeah, I know, right? Might not be good.
But it's kind of cool. You get a different vibe and a different, you're with different bands and you got different categories, or what am I saying? You know what I'm saying? Different styles.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, you learn a little bit of everything.
Long story short, man. So he's going, and it'll still be a long fucking story because I got full of wind, right? So he's telling me, man, I'm not kidding, man. He's telling me this story, and this is straight up. Yeah, so I'm singing, and there's 2 attractive girls in front, and I notice, and they're rocking with me, and I'm singing Luther Vandross, and I was like, come on, man. All right, first of all, you don't have Luther Vandross voice or his, or his vibe, dude, because, so, man, I'm not kidding, man. So he's telling me, so I'm singing Here and Now, hey, that gave me goosebumps, but if it was Luther singing it, damn, hell yeah. So he's telling me that the 2 ladies in front, like one of them's actually fanning herself with her hand. And then he said that he's really getting into the deep part, and I'm not kidding, man. He says, and he's playing, this is why I said you're full of shit, because he said he's playing his acoustic. I was like, man, ain't got no goddamn acoustic on there, man. I was like, so he's playing his acoustic, and all of a sudden, here flies in these panties, and I was like,
oh my god.
I'm not kidding, man. And he's like with a straight look in my, and I guarantee those, all of a sudden, Rob, these panties just come flying up and they land on the stock of my head of my machine head, and I'm kind of nervous. I just pull them off, and I'm looking at him and I'm like, dude, okay, look, for real, that's hey, Luther, hey, he's got that ability to do that.
He can do that.
I'm gonna tell you one thing: if Luther, I was sitting and I'm watching, I'm gonna throw my panties. And they're gonna be like throwing those fish net, the fishing nets, the throw nets where you have to use 2 arms and fling it. That way it's gonna land on Luther and he's gonna be a ghost, man. Panicking, man. A knife's gonna come through the underwear and start cutting. Oh, sanitizer now. But I'm listening to this guy, and seriously, I'm like, come on, bro. For real, I was like looking at him, I was like, oh, wow, that must have been something, man. I guarantee you. And I was like, all right, man. And they're like, oh, hold up. And they're still telling me more bullshit about, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to go now. I got a lot of stuff to do. So I'm like, why can't they just listen to me a little bit here? I said, well, they weren't really into this type of music. I knew it was a long shot just to tell them, it's like, well, we're playing Luther, and we got, what's the other guy, Chris Stapleton, and stuff like that. And I'm like, well, what y'all play? I was like, Black Flag, and, what was the Fear, and And we had some originals, the Replacements, and he's like, and who's that? Is that that guy you were telling me about, Doug Salm? I said, Doug Salm. I'd like to see him one day. He said, he's up here in the mission. He's dead, then. He's like, what? I didn't know he was dead because they actually though, one of his bands is not that bad, but I don't want to get no more to say who it is. But it's just one of those things though that kind of pissed me off. I'm like, dude, I'm telling the story, not true.
Oh, you know what? You could have told them they're throwing panties at us too, but no, I'm just kidding.
No, wait, 2 minutes. I was like, hold on, I would have, but the song didn't last that long. It was only 2 minutes.
2 reasons why it'd be bad if they're throwing panties at our show. Number 1, half was family.
Oh Lord, yeah.
I just watched these panties. What the hell?
Number 2, it was a punk rock show.
What's wrong with you?
Number 2 is a punk rock show, and you don't want them throwing panties at a punk rock show. Girls, they all wet. They just stick to you like.
Wet towel?
Yeah, I was dancing. It's all sweaty, right? Like you couldn't hear flop right there. Like,
can I have my panties back? I didn't mean to throw them. They snapped off. Gross, man.
Well, generally speaking, when it's punk, you want like bananas and like junk thrown at you, right? Isn't that like a compliment? I've heard that before.
I could have used them.
I don't know about bananas, but
somebody throw beef jerky.
I've heard that for some reason.
I'm gonna say sausage, man.
That sounds like SpongeBob.
There's stuff that you expect people to throw when they're angry.
Believe it or not,
bottles.
Bottles, yeah.
Bottles,
beer bottles and
cans. Cans I can do with bottles.
Socks.
I don't know about bottles, man.
I wouldn't doubt they start throwing beef bologna.
Socks.
Yeah.
Socks? That's right. Yeah, somebody toenails. Throw toenails my way.
Oh man, toenail clippings. There you go.
Yes, we're doing awesome, guys.
That's hardcore.
You got toenails.
Oh, that's gross. But it was awesome.
That was fun. It was fun. But we're back, man. Finally.
We're back.
I'm sorry, Janice.
Peeling the bananas.
I know. Like that would get hit by a whole banana.
Right, you just see the person eating it.
Looking at him. Like, he kisses the peel, right? When you're waiting, right? Watch out, that guy with the banana. Watch that guy. Oh, it's coming. But
hey, if any of the videos came out good enough, maybe we can post a video to
I think I did on Instagram. I think, but I may have not. I may have not done it right. I think I was drunk too, trying to do it. I was still happy, man.
Man, I was drunk.
Yeah. Oh, good.
That's another story, right?
Should we get into that? You tell that one.
I don't really know. All I
She
know
doesn't
is
remember it.
I woke up at 4 o'clock because we were supposed to pick up the babies, and I'm not used to not being there for them. And I was like, oh, fuck, what happened to them? And then I see them, and I'm like, okay, good. And then I look down, and I have to throw up all of my shirt, in my hair, in my laps. And I was sleeping by myself.
And whose was it? It was Kory's? No, just kidding. No. Kory's throat? No.
But little bits and pieces, I can
You get flashes
in and out.
I
Yeah.
remember that.
Like,
wait a minute.
I remember opening my eyes and seeing Whataburger, and I was like, okay, good.
Then why? You remember that, but you don't remember like sitting in the parking lot and me
No.
telling you open a door.
I got bits and pieces, and the only piece I got was seeing Whataburger. Okay.
I stopped there so she could throw up, and she just started throwing up all over herself. I was like,
Well.
man.
She's like, I'm working on it still. I'm trying to remember.
I'm getting there.
Like she jumped out
One
and
day.
ran over there and opened her door. She was already done by then. We
Yeah.
thought. And then there comes some more.
But there
Yeah.
you go. It was a fun show.
It was.
It was good, yeah.
You know what? And then too, I was all the homebody man after that. We better
Gotta
go
go.
straight home, dear. And I'm not kidding. I'm here and I'm drinking my ass off. It was, oh, dude, I was still thinking about it. My ears, you know, like when you're home and I was watching The Rifleman or something, but my ears were ringing.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at the door and I just see Kory's head looking and not ringing the doorbell, just kind of like looking in, like kind of side by side, trying to see who's there. And I'm looking at it like, what the fuck? And I knew already. I already knew. He opens the door. Oh, can you help me? And I was like, yeah. I was like, I know this already. Man, you couldn't even stand, Jazz. I was like, yeah, you were trying to walk, but your feet were like dragging. But you were moving them. You were moving them on the tiptoes, but they were dragging. I couldn't stop
Oh
doing it.
shit! Okay, this is really embarrassing.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
No, not that part. I don't care about that part.
But man,
This part.
We
Kory,
didn't. Oh, I'm sorry. Wait.
Kory said that I was throwing up and farting.
Yeah, man, and they were like my farts, dude. Like I was impressed.
No,
That's my daughter.
She wasn't throwing up though. She was all, ugh.
It's coming out
There was no more. You didn't have. It was dry knees.
It's coming out the wrong end.
Oh my god.
The funny part was Rob was trying not to laugh, but he was worried about you at the same time. He was like, she's dry heaving. Oh, but that's not good. And he was like laughing.
Yeah, it was like if you like, you know those the jet cars, the afterburners. I thought you were gonna. Somebody get her!
She wasn't dragging on the ground anymore. She flew
I
up.
wanted to look at the doorbell camera.
Oh, there you go.
We were right in front of it.
No.
Yeah, we were too, and then too it was a trip because we couldn't even make it to the bed, man. You saw the thing and you just threw yourself on the couch. I mean, like threw it, but we're like, you know how like make sure she sleeps on her side.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you know, but you knocked out, so he was just like, oh, she's in the house, fuck it. So she pulled out the. But it was so much. It was fun, man. It was worth getting that drunk, man. I was already drunk too. I had to go to. It was like, yeah, it was almost 4 o'clock in the morning, man. So yeah, typical old guy, man. I had to pee before I went to bed. Still woke up at another hour or two to pee again, like 4 more times.
Dude, the hardest
That was
part,
awesome though.
I had to take Mikey home. And it was, remember how foggy it was that night?
Yeah,
and
it
I
was.
wasn't sober.
Oh,
man.
yeah.
I mean, I was sober as hell. And I wasn't. And she's sober. I'm trying to like keep her from throwing up everywhere. And then Mikey, we stopped in front of his house. You couldn't even see his front door, man. That's how foggy it was, dude.
That's what you call a good show, but it was a little rainy, but man, it was awesome. Can't wait to do it again, Jess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can. Wait a little while.
Well, don't drink that much.
Actually, today we got off a little there, but man, we got some awesome stories, man. And we've had them on the back burner for a while. And we actually do have more of them. We've been trying to get them out. Man, these are from...
I feel bad because, yeah, some of these we've had for
October,
a while.
November? Like
man.
the first and the... Like, and I mean, it was when I think we were still going out with the Paranormal Fest. You know, we were still getting some hits off of that. Then we just released our Halloween one. And then, but I mean, everybody's been real good with sending them in and stuff like that. We still got plenty more. We had some from the Luchador
oh yeah, that's
bar,
right.
so
I forgot about that.
We got some, man. We're ready to rock, and we're back and
back and rolling again.
yeah, having a lot of
Y'all
fun.
got stories at the bar?
We got like
she did,
3 of them actually, something like 3, and they were like from a husband and
wife
team, but like they were pretty good. They were really good, you know. So I can't wait to get those ones out, but. And then we got Ian Cito back.
Oh,
we
there
got
we go
him with
with
his sobering thoughts. I can't hear, and that's a doozy right there.
Man, I had to after Jazz was like cussing at me and screaming at me, and she was so drunk.
They're like,
You better effing do this. You better be ready.
It's because I love you,
No
though.
excuses. You don't even remember that,
That's the
dude.
love.
I do.
Uh-huh.
I couldn't control it, but I do.
I was trying to say it in a nice way, but you know what that tequila does.
I remember that. This is after that.
Yeah. It was about 30 minutes after that. It all went blank.
It was like immediately after. No.
And you know when she was giving me a
You
hard
told her
time?
the story.
Yeah, I'm like, oh shit.
No, when she started giving me a hard time about leaving and started throwing up, I was like, where the fuck is Ian at? First thing I thought, I was like, man, I was
She
about to
needs
put on
a
I was about to put
sobering
one of the
death.
episodes on.
Oh yeah. listen to this. What was it? Or like, get this. No, that's what it was.
Get this, bud.
Anyway, what do you fellas say we get to the first one?
Yeah, let's do that. What do we do? You want to do the Malevolent Teenage Ghost? Maybe start with that.
That one's pretty good.
All right.
My name is Paul, and I wanted to share my story with you. I'm going on 19, but at the time of this event, I was only 15. I lived with my mother and at the time my 4-year-old sister Cassie. We moved into a pretty old 2-story house in 2016 on the southeast side of San Antonio. We still currently live here. My mother is a nurse and works long crazy hours sometimes, doing a double on the weekends. So it was mainly myself having to watch over my baby sister. I admit I love my baby sister, but I hated never being able to go with my friends to do teenager stuff. So this made me mad at Cassie a lot of the times. 4 months after moving into the house, I was watching Cassie. This particular day, I was pouting and being an ass with Cassie because I had to cancel my plans with my friends because my mother got called into work, having to do a graveyard shift. Come 8 o'clock, I sent my sister upstairs angrily to take a bath before bed. Filling the tub less than halfway with a few of her toys to play with, I went into my room to listen to music and play my video games. I hear Cassie yelling for me just minutes after I put her in the tub, so I yell at her from my room, "What, Cassie?" She yells at me to come here. Me, thinking she just wants me to get more toys for her to play with, I yell back at her, "Just play with the toys you have, Cassie." Feeling annoyed, I turned up my music a little louder. Then I hear Cassie yelling for me again. Ignoring her, I keep playing my game. But then she starts yelling, "Paul, hurry, it's way too much water." I get up to check on her. The water was on full blast and the tub was overflowing. Letting out some of the water, I yell at Cassie, "Why the hell did you turn on the water? Next time I'm going to just let you drown." Immediately regretting saying it as soon as it came out of my mouth. I washed her hair and got her out of the tub, getting her ready for bed. Threw the covers over her, and she looks at me and tells me I didn't turn the water on. Annoyed, I tucked her in and told her to go to sleep. The next day, I woke up to my mom fixing Cassie a bowl of cereal. My mom was looking at me angrily. "Paul, what have I told you about having anybody over while you're watching your sister?" I was confused at what she was saying. "What are you talking about? I never had anyone over, Mom. Your sister said a boy turned on the water while she was in the tub. Paul, I need to know I can trust you to watch your sister. I need you to be responsible." Very angry, I told my mom that I didn't have anyone over. I looked at Cassie like, "Why are you lying?" "Cassie, is this boy over here all of the time?" Flustered at Cassie for lying and at my mom for not believing me. "Cassie's lying. I never had anyone over." My mom didn't want to hear anything I had to say. "Paul, I'm exhausted. Just no more people over, okay? I'm going to bed. I have to work again tonight." I didn't say anything. I just went to my room and slammed the door. Come 5 o'clock, my mom left for work. I sat on the sofa watching TV. Cassie calls me from the kitchen asking me to make her a bowl of cereal. I made a bowl for her and myself. I went to put the milk back in the refrigerator when I hear something fall behind me. My bowl of cereal was on the floor. "Damn it, Cassie. Why did you do that?" She looked scared. I didn't drop it. Pissed off, I sent her upstairs without finishing her cereal. I took her a bath and put her to bed. We both had school the next day. I draw her bath again with her toys telling her I'll be right back to wash her hair. I go downstairs to clean the bowl of cereal that she had dropped. I head back upstairs to wash Cassie's hair. When I enter the bathroom, I see all the shampoo and conditioner all over the floor. I exploded at this point. I grabbed Cassie out of the tub and told her she was going to clean the mess she made. Again regretting how I grabbed her and yelled at her. She was crying uncontrollably, trying to clean the mess. I tell her to just go lay down, I'll clean it. I felt I was on the verge of tears. It was way too much for me. I was only 15 and I felt I had my own child. It made me angry all over again. Mad at my mom for having Cassie and mad at Cassie for having to watch her every single day. Then I hear Cassie throwing things around in the room. I go check on her and see all her books, toys, and her bed stripped of her sheets. The blankets and pillows all over the ground. "Cassie, why the F are you making mess for me?" At this point, as angry as I was, I had to walk away and sit in my room to calm down. About an hour later, I go back to Cassie's room and see she's asleep on the bare mattress. Feeling guilty, I pick her up and lay her on my bed while I fix her bed. Then headed downstairs for something to drink. A little bit more calm, I figured let me go ahead and lay her on her own bed so I can lay down since I had school the next day. I went to my room, picked her up to take her to her room. And I see the blankets and sheets all over the floor again. I looked at Cassie. Did she wake up and mess up the bed? Impossible. I was only gone a minute. I laid her back on my bed and laid next to her. The next morning, I rushed to get ready for school, excited to be getting out of the house away from my responsibilities. While at school, I couldn't help but feel really bad at the way I had been acting towards my baby sister. After all, it wasn't her fault I had to take care of her. When I got home, there was a note on the table for my mom to go pick up my sister from the neighbors because my mom had to be at work early that day. I went to pick her up, came home, and sat in the living room to watch some TV and do homework. It was quiet, so I go check on Cassie. She's in the kitchen attempting to make a jelly sandwich, tearing the bread as she spread the jelly on it. I couldn't help but laugh and be sad that she felt she couldn't ask me to make it for her. I said, "Here, let me help you." I sat at the table with her while she ate her sandwich. I asked her about her day and apologized to her for being mean to her lately. She's only 4, so of course she forgave me right away. Then she asked me, "How come your friend's not here?" I asked her confused, "What friend?" She said, "That one that was here yesterday and the day before." Meaning the one that had been coming every day, I assumed she meant. I told her there was no friend that was coming over. She said, "Yes, he was watching you play your game and watching TV with you. And you both kept yelling at me when he was the one turning the water and throwing the shampoo and making the messes in our rooms. You and him were mad at me." She looked very sad when she told me this. Could it be that she didn't do all the things I thought she did? Did I create something malicious when I treated her bad? It hurt me to think, what if it had hurt my baby sister? And how my baby sister must have felt with myself and this other thing both yelling at her and throwing things around. That night, I promised her I would never get mad at her again. And even though I get upset with her, I don't take it out on her no more. And I don't mind so much anymore having to babysit her. Thankfully, she never saw this friend again.
Man, I hate hearing stories with kids involved.
Yeah.
I mean,
I felt bad for her.
I felt bad for her, real bad for her. I mean, but you gotta understand. I had a little sister like that too, and I kind of see where he's coming from as a teenager. I wanted to go hang out with my friends.
Kory's sister was a little fucking
She was a
brat.
pain in the ass.
Yeah, I was gonna say I sympathize with like that feeling as a
But
teenager.
she wasn't the one doing it, so she got caught up on that bullshit, right? So I can imagine him feeling kind of bad about that shit. Yeah, but I'm sorry, Ian.
I was just saying, cut me off, and then before I get to the part where I'm like making me look bad. No, but
I've been watching too
so
much
you
of those.
agree with him?
Those the impeachment trials, man. Nobody gives each other a chance. They try to make it.
Can I finish?
Can I finish my sentence, please? I'm sorry, Ian.
No, I was just saying, was like I get that feeling of just having a short temper towards your sibling and like having to hold. You gotta hold it back.
You gotta know when to hold them.
As an older sibling, like especially with that much of an age difference between the two of you, like you gotta.
But
you gotta just.
I didn't hold back for my little sister, Jacob.
But she,
well, there's not that much of an age difference between the two of you. Like there was with me and my sisters, or Kory and his
Somebody
sister.
else didn't hold back here.
I know. I don't even want to breathe.
I'm gonna blame it on the dog, but I don't know. That sounded kind of human, man.
Somebody let one
breathing
go.
in hard.
God.
I mean, I'm sure he would have acted different towards her if he knew what was going on.
Oh yeah,
sure.
Because he seemed like a good guy, and then also a poor thing because she really didn't have anything to do with it, and then she
was making herself something to eat.
Yeah, and then
tearing up the bread and stuff.
Like,
she's
imagine
crying.
being that scared, like not to want to bother, you know?
That's how I was. I never asked my dad to make me nothing to eat.
Yeah, but that's different.
I just
Well, that was the other thing. Was just that as a sibling, as an older sibling, is I really sympathize with her as well. Like I really feel bad, like for her.
How she was the one who saw it only, right? So, but she was the only one who saw it is weird also.
Yeah.
So, this is weird. This is, to me, is like, because this is the first time, actually, to be honest with you, that we've actually had any sort of story like this, that it may have, he may have projected something like that, because he was so pissed off. Then you gotta understand Tim, too, because he's still a kid also.
You know, as a teenager, your emotions are out of control.
Yeah, and he want to go have fun, too, and, you know, and and you know, he's still doing the good thing by taking care of her and stuff. Like, you know, he's watching over his sister, but he want to go have fun too, like we're talking about. But it's weird how she was saying that he was sitting next to her while he was playing the games, or like they were both yelling at her at the same time, but like he didn't pick up on that. So that's weird. I was wondering, how is that? Did he project that out there? That he's the one that projected because he was so pissed off that he lost his cool for that little bit of minute, that, you know, that he actually projected like something like that. And then, because it only goes to say at the end of the story when he's saying that he told her he wasn't going to get mad, and she's asking him, well, where's your friend? Like, he didn't show up. So maybe because he calmed down. Mm-hmm. But really, too, after I text him back, and he kind of sounded like he was, you know, genuinely sorry. And that, you know, he says that, you know, when he watches over it, he just keeps his calm and keeps his cool and stuff like that. Because I think even he knows, because he was telling me he's never run into anything like that. He's never seen a ghost before. So he was telling me when we text him back, you know, hey, you know, how's everything? And he's telling me that he, you know, he doesn't understand what that was or how that, you know. And I'm like, wow, that's weird, because this is like one of the first time that we ran into that too.
Yeah, that's kind of weird, yeah.
But you know, the devil works in weird ways like that. You know, trying to get at him and his sister, and he didn't fall for it. You know, he's still doing the right thing. Yeah. So, you know, maybe that's why. It
sounded like he almost lost his cool, but I mean, he was able to, you know, control himself.
And it just was yelling and stuff like that. But I mean, not that it's, you know, because he's, you know, he said some things, but he was sorry about it. You know, but yeah, that's
that was kind of crazy. That was.
But how do you do that? Is that how you get so mad that you project it? Because I've heard of like the poltergeist and stuff like that.
Or maybe they were just like feeding off of his energy, you know? Like
it might have been something that was already there, and then just his frustrations.
I think I was showing y'all though that the little text, and it's not a long text. It's just like 2 lines, and it's 3 lines. It's saying that he was skinnier and taller than him.
Yeah, it was taller than him too. Yeah,
and skinnier.
Yeah, skinny. Yeah.
I was like, but I wasn't sure. He didn't really get into specifics. It looked kind of like him, but going that route also. So that's weird, man. Shit, that's
I wonder if what if he's a fat midget?
She was the one who was telling him. She's the one who said that's what that looks like. Yeah, it could have been. I don't know, fat ass midget.
Or a small person.
She's a small person. Small. Let's be politically correct here, right? Little ladies of LA. Yeah, one of them. So, yeah.
So she's like was reminding him about it.
He didn't know.
I think she was describing.
Yeah, she was describing it to him, but
back then. But I'm saying today though. Today, I wonder if she remembers what happened.
It was a couple of days later. Like it was still like during the time, because when he told her, he said he felt bad. And he told her, like, look, hey, I'm not gonna lose my cool no more. You know, I'm sorry. Right. And she said, well, what happened to your friend? I haven't seen him.
Right.
You know, and he's like, so she described him as being skinnier. Right. And also being taller. So
that was back then. When she was 4.
Yeah.
It's 5 years later now, or 4 years later.
He's telling us the story.
I'm wondering, does she still remember that?
Oh, that's weird, right?
That's what I've been.
I'm sure she does, because shit like that stays with someone. That too, she could have grew out. You're right. Maybe she didn't think about it no more, and then maybe forgot about it. But then something
just
spread
like
that
she might remember more details or be able to describe it better now that she knows.
That's true too.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm wondering.
But then again, too, like if she spills like soap or if she drops her bowl of cereal, that might spur her back on, or a messy bed. You know, it's like
might
trigger, might trigger it. But it's true though, too, right?
Yeah, it's true. She'd be like, "Oh no," and then all of a sudden looks up and there's that ghost again.
The skinny ghost. Right?
Oh, that would be crazy if it did come back or something, man. Like, if something triggered it and...
Yeah, how do you have that too? Right?
I'd run, but...
Like, cause if she moves into another haunted house, say, like, and there's, like, different spirits in there, can you trigger something like that and bring something like that back too? Hey, remember me?
Oh, right, yeah.
No, like that.
We're picking up new ones, too.
I know he's back. I make my bed and it's always fucking dirt. You know, up. Yeah. It's like, that's your signature move.
That's fucked again.
Dadgummit, is Bill back? He's gotta be back, man.
Well, speaking of furniture being messed up, the other day, I woke up from bed and I looked at my night table. Sorry, just a little segue here. Sorry, getting off topic, but I saw my chair, my desk in the corner of my room, and I saw my chair, and it was like facing away from me, which is how I left it the night before. And I went to the restroom, brushed my teeth, did all the morning stuff, and I came back to my room, and it was rotated 180 degrees, facing me, like for me to sit down. Right, it's like, well, and so I went to my parents, and I asked them, like, hey, did any of y'all go to my room? And they're like, no. And my mom's like, I swear I heard your door open, though.
Yeah. You know what? We always hear your door open all the time.
Even when I'm not in the room, even when I'm like asleep.
When you're in, yeah.
That's crazy, man. Yeah, you just see your mom on the Segway sleepwalking, going to the beach.
But that reminded me that that happened recently.
At least it's the Segway just turned. You don't see this guy walking in his V8s, the tidy whities, just peeing behind a fan. Legs as wide as that bowl right there, man. Shit, yeah. Remember, Bob, man, we'd have to put on our scuba diving gear, man.
Snorkels?
Yeah, it was always peeing though, man. He always peed. One time he tried to fill up one of those laundry baskets they were netted, like
yeah,
they had holes over there. I'm like, you're gonna fill it up, Dad, but he tried. And he peed for like minutes, man. I'm talking about like 16 minutes.
Like that.
We're timing them, ready, go.
No, well, yeah, when he peed in the fan, though, too. Did we mention that in the podcast? I don't know if we did.
I think we did, yeah. It was a warm water cooler.
Yeah.
Man, it was disgusting, but yeah, it was just like he was hauling ass to the toilet to pee, man, and there it was, man, just like, oh.
Right in the fan, man.
We heard that for about 30 minutes.
Y'all just stayed there getting beat on?
Wait, it was worse, man. You come down, you're really going to hit the mist, man.
No,
you had just sprinkles there, but man, you get like in the line of fire. It's like...
he had to pull the blankets over, man.
Yeah, even they were saturated, right? Kicking them off you, man. They were like those panties pop. They felt like they were gross.
That's nasty.
Yeah, it's like even at the last part where you do the last word. Dad, go out of the lawn, man. But yeah, it was.
It's bad to wake him. He's sleepwalking.
Yeah, don't wake him up. He was like, no, we were trying to. He just didn't.
So you'd rather get beat than...
Yeah, I know. Go water the cilantro.
Anyway, what is only thing I can think is that I think he did conjure something up, being as pissed off as he was, and we got to do some more research on that. But I mean, I'm glad, it sounds like it had like a happy ending. He found this. They're a good tight knit family, and
It sounds like one of those things that like you kind of wish didn't happen between them, but it also brought them closer together.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's true. Definitely, yeah, definitely. So
you hope if there's some positive to take out of that something like that.
Yeah, exactly. So that's a good one. Thank you, Paul, for that one. That was awesome.
Man, next one, you want to do the Doppelganger?
Let's do the Doppelganger call.
The Doppelganger. Yes, this is a phone call. Doppelganger from the mean streets of Castle Hills. That's yeah.
Hey, what's going on, Rigor Mortis crew? This is Mike G from the mean streets of Castle Hill. So I have a doppelganger story that happened to me roughly about 15 years ago. So about that time frame, my daughter was about 5 years old, and in our house was myself, my mother-in-law, my wife, and my daughter. And that's who occupied the house. And that day, it was just a regular day, and it was about 1:50 in the morning. And my wife and I were in our room watching TV. And that night, our daughter had slept with my mother-in-law in her room. And my mother-in-law's room was on the opposite side of the house. And so, pretty quiet that night, 1:50. I remember specifically 1:50 because we were watching a TV show. And I hear like a noise at my door. And nobody should be awake, and we had a puppy in the hallway. So I tell my wife, I gesture like, shh, be quiet. And I just assumed it was my daughter playing with the puppy. So I creep up to the door. I'm like, I'm going to bust my kid. So I swing open the door. And when I swing open the door, I see my daughter, and she doesn't freak out like a normal kid would, like, oh, crap, Dad busted me, And I see her, and she's wearing like a white pajamas with like a purple kind of piping or, around it, and her foot is in the air, and she's the dog sucking on her sock, and when I swing open the door, she doesn't make that reaction, and it kind of freaks me out. I'm like, what? And she slowly puts her foot down, and she does like a counterclockwise. She does like this ballerina dance, and she squats down and just books it. And when she books it, I freak out, and I tell my wife, Jackie, get Ava. So she gets up and runs, and she books it and she hooks a left in the house, and I thought, man, I just saw Ava hook a right. So I go to the living room where I saw Ava go. She wasn't there. So I go to the room, and I hear commotion, and I hear my mother-in-law saying, Ava's asleep. What are you talking about? She's been asleep. So I run up, and I look, and she's crashed down, and I pull the covers down to see, what she's wearing. And my daughter's asleep, and she's wearing a purple pajamas. I'm like, what the fuck? And I come to the realization that I had seen a doppelganger. So needless to say, it really freaked me the fuck out, and I ended up going into work the following day because I couldn't handle what I had just seen. Yeah. Well, that's my story, man. I hope you enjoy it. Have a good one. Bye.
Jackie, get Ava! She's on fire! Typical guy, right, man?
Yeah, shoot.
But I think because moms respond more because dads were oafs, man. I mean, yeah, because really, seriously, and then too, she was a doppelganger, so fucking, you go get her.
Yeah. You get her. I'm gonna stand behind the door here hiding.
Let me know what happened, Jackie.
Tell me when the coast is clear.
Did you get her?
Yeah, mom. And then too, go to mom and like, what the fuck? Shut the fuck up. She's asleep.
Damn.
No, seriously, that is creepy, man.
That is
What
freaking
brings
shit, man.
that
Yeah.
on, man? I mean, really, and I wonder if they had any more problems like that,
Yeah.
That's another first for us, too. We
Yeah.
never got a doppelganger before.
We got doppelgangers, but not like that.
Yeah. Not like that, though.
Not like that. That's weird,
I
because
think in most experiences they see themselves, right? Is that the one that we
sometimes
right?
it is like the way he's saying, because it looked like, because I think we've gotten, I don't know, to be honest with you, I don't know if we've gotten one
where
that
they see
themselves.
Somebody else.
I think it's vice versa, wasn't it?
I thought we got one that saw.
Oh, well, I'm always drunk, jazzing these. I don't know, man.
I don't know.
You too, so how do you know? So, but that's what I'm saying is like, I know this one is kind of this is weird because what okay, the guy before said he never saw a ghost before, right? So they never had any problems. What drudged that up? Was it just him being that upset and that pissed off that obviously you're inviting something because, like we talked about this before, you're vulnerable and you're maybe inviting something in, but that's what I'm saying is like,
yeah, this one.
Well, the same thing on that one, but like this one, one. What did they do to invite that in?
Exactly. They were just watching a movie, I think, right?
Yeah.
They said in the other room, or.
Ooh, I mean, but it was the daughter, so.
You think she has problems like that?
Well, maybe she invited something in unintentionally.
Maybe
That's true too, because we've had
well,
those.
maybe the
stories
house
before.
was haunted. I don't know. Because I know. Well, Mike's a good buddy of mine, and I don't know. I think he said they lived in a haunted house, but or their house was haunted. I don't know if it's one they live in now or this
like,
one.
if it is a haunted house, then that could just be like a plain old ghost, or maybe even a demon poltergeist, whatever that's intelligent.
Doppelgangers
Like that.
are not really like when something's haunted, right? Isn't it supposed to be when?
It could be, and it can't, because remember we run into some of the stories where they've been in like a haunting, and I'm trying to think of one.
It's not like strictly based on haunting. I think because when I was reading about them, doesn't mean like
wasn't it bad luck?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like knocking wood. I hate saying this because it's about a little girl, but some like.
I know what you're saying.
It's not good.
It's not the ending.
It's like
the outcome is not good.
omen, yeah.
And I always thought that the same thing, but it's not always like that, because we've been hearing these other. We've been hearing these other stories that we've gotten, and that they didn't lead up to that. It's just something they experienced. I don't know what conjured that up or how that made it, but if that's a haunted house, you might be right, Dave. If they are living.
So I might be wrong, but I thought he said they lived in a. I don't know if it's the one they live in now or if it's from the story, but like Castle Hills. Never mind. You won't. I was gonna say
the mean streets of Castle Hill.
I was gonna say it could have been some homeless people, man, just borrowing the house,
there.
Man. But that's what I'm saying, not in Castle Hills.
In case, that's a section in San Antonio that's a pretty well off.
Neighborhood.
Ritzy neighborhood.
Yeah.
It's really nice. I think like the bad neighborhoods that you own, instead of owning a 2020 Mercedes. It's like a 2018, so yeah, that's a bad neighborhood. We don't go through there, So
yeah, they'll shake your fist at you as you're driving by. That's the mean side of town.
Update that car.
It'd be almost. I don't know. Would it be scarier if that was an actual like regular person? Like
man, see, I don't know. That's what I'm saying too, though. Really, if it was a real person that was in the house,
where did it go? Where did it go, though? I mean, Jackie ran after it. I know. They
both may have ran in the opposite direction. I know I would have.
yeah, I know too. Man. Go check that out, Jackie.
Up yours, you go check it out.
When he called into work, I would have been like, fuck that, I'm going.
That's right.
I don't want to fuck it.
Yeah, blame it on that. How do you call that in? Hey, I'm having doppelganger. I'm going to need to take a sick day.
Man, I'd be the opposite. I'd be like, hey, honey, I'm going to be late. I got to work overtime. I don't
want to go home.
I don't want to go home, man.
Yeah. Like, I'm talking to the boss about some work hammocks. Yeah, so that's crazy, though, man.
It is a trip, man. I don't know, man. That's something like that. That'd freak me out big time, man.
Definitely. And then too, that's happening to their baby too. So
yeah, that's what I say. Yeah, it looks like your kid.
Oh man, yeah, that is.
It looks like one of your children. Oh no, hell no. You stay away from my kids now.
Yeah, because how many times, like, if you're gonna scare your kid and you surprise them like that, how many times do they flinch and they like, or they get scared, like, She didn't do nothing. Her dog was still chewing on her sock.
Yeah.
And that she pulled it away, and that she just she did like a ballerina turn.
Yeah, that's a trip, man.
What if that was the real kid and the doppelganger was in bed?
Or
plot twist.
I know, right?
That would be even worse.
Or the mother-in-law was like as drunk as you, and she didn't feel nobody jump back on the bed. Shut up, Lord. You get drunk too, Panzon. But no, that's a trip. And then she just took off running. Like, what's that all about? And they're like, man, I know I told man, I'll go after her. I can't run that fast. I'm not gonna.
That'll be the excuse. I can't run.
It's like that I'll use as an excuse. I pulled a hamstring trying to chase my daughter yesterday.
Freak accident, guys.
But man, that was pretty awesome, man. They're getting stranger, ain't they?
Yeah, no kidding.
They're getting stranger, man. I tell you what, and actually, I think we're gonna either do
a sobering thought.
I think I want to do that one. I'd like to hear that one because that one's actually a really good topic. I liked it. I like it. Haven't heard it in a while. Yeah. And yeah, man. And I've been waiting for these, for a while since last year sometime.
It's time for Sobering Thought.
This Sobering Thought segment is about the Blob Rain that fell in
Oakville,
Washington. A lot of the details about this event came from an episode of Unsolved Mysteries that aired in 1997 or 98, if I remember correctly, one of those two. The rain first began falling on August 7th, 1994, at 3 in the morning. Over the following 3 weeks, this gelatinous goo fell a total of 6 more times. In an interview with local officer David Lacey, he detailed his first interaction with the rain, which came while he was driving with a friend. In Oakland, it rains about 275 days a year, so he didn't think anything of it until he turned on his windshield wipers and the rain smeared to the point that it was almost impossible to see. After pulling over, he observed the tiny, translucent, gelatinous globules, which were about the size of a grain of rice. This following detail wasn't in the info from Unsolved Mysteries, but it came from another source which claimed to be a resident with first-hand experience during the Blob Rain events. And that detail is that the officer put on gloves before touching the rain. Officer Lacey said to Unsolved Mysteries that the substance was very mushy, almost like if you had Jell-O in your hand. You could pretty much squish it through your fingers. Now, the reason I mentioned that he put on gloves is that many of the residents became sick after coming into direct physical contact with the rain. And that includes the officer, despite the fact that he only touched it with gloves on. It didn't come into contact with his skin. The resident that shared that glove detail was speaking out on a website called factslegend.org, and she gave a few more details regarding her experience during the Blob events, and according to her account, Officer Lacey became sick within a few hours of touching the rain, and as did her mother, who did come into direct physical contact with the rain, as well as the woman who was giving these details. By the time the gelatinous rain fell a second time, the woman's mother's symptoms became worse, and she had to be hospitalized, and by the third time the rain fell, one of the woman's kittens had passed away. Now, there are a lot of theories about what happened, what this rain was, and what caused it, and one of the most common ones was that the blob rain caused by bombing runs done by the nearby military in the ocean 50 miles away. The idea was that the bombing run may have caused an explosion within a group of jellyfish, which then became dispersed within a rain cloud. However, despite the Air Force confirming that they had performed bombing runs during that time, they denied any knowledge of the substance and any involvement in creating or dispersing it. Another theory was proposed by a Dr. Little, not Dr. Doolittle, who believed that the blobs were the result of drops of concentrated fluid waste from a passing airplane toilet. This theory, of course, was denied by the FAA, with them stating that all fluid waste from commercial plane toilets are dyed blue and that regulations forbid dumping that type of waste mid-flight or while airborne. Now, before I bring up the last theory, I do need to give a little bit more background. I should start off by saying that after lab tests at a local hospital, there were white human blood cells found in the blob. However, upon further investigation by the Washington State Department of Ecology's Hazardous Materials Spill Response Unit, the cells from the blobs were found to have no nuclei, which contradicts the initial findings from the hospital. So after that, additional samples were sent off to Washington Department of Health microbiologist Mike McDowell for more testing. He found two organisms, Pseudomonas fluorescens and Enterobacter cloacae? I don't know how to pronounce some of these. I'm not a doctor. I don't know these things, so forgive me if I pronounce them wrong. But either way, those two organisms could lead to severe illness. They're bacteria. At some point during his investigation, he came to the conclusion that the material was in fact man-made and was being used as a matrix, which, simply put, means that the gelatinous rain was used as a vehicle that could transport viruses or bacteria. After reporting his findings to his supervisor, he returned to his lab to discover that the substance was missing. And when he reported that the samples were missing to his supervisor, McDowell was told not to ask any more questions. This leads to the final theory, which is also my conclusion, which is that if everyone's account is to be believed, there is some sort of government cover-up going on here. Some people think it was a government experiment testing from a new form of biological warfare, which could be possible. If the government is covering it up, it could really be anything. Aliens, even? I mean, who knows? Well, anyways, that's the end of that story. What do y'all think?
Oh, man, Ian, I would miss that, man. It is awesome, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Well, right off the bat, there's two things I gotta clarify. One, I accidentally said the wrong name.
Of the city?
Of the city, in initial recording, so I had to go back and redo that.
Your voice sounds a little different in there.
Way different.
Well, I've been practicing.
Like a 6-year-old.
Yeah.
I've been practicing, working on my vocal techniques.
There you go.
Thank you, Cash. The second thing I gotta clarify is that one thing I didn't say about the blobs, I don't think, was that they're clear. They was like kind of translucent, clear looking, which is why it was significant that the FAA says that they dye that whatever that stuff is blue.
Yeah. Yeah.
But either way, though, they were saying it was illegal to. They're not supposed to just let that shit fly like that over.
Well, and then not to mention for that to happen 7 total times. I mean that even if for whatever reason they did once, I can't imagine they would continue falling in the area 7 more times over a 2-week period.
It could have been the same pilot.
He's bad diarrhea. I think I'm gonna go fly.
He's doing the same route.
Yeah, maybe.
Oh, you said it was from a plane?
No. That was somebody suggested that theory, but then the FAA.
Yeah.
This was like, that couldn't have been because it's against the law. I mean, who knows?
You know what? A toilet from a UFO.
Translucent, yeah, weird.
Yeah.
But that's weird too because they were talking about how you said that. I think you said that it was proven that it didn't have no nucleus, no nuclei. What else was the other one? But they found human white blood cells or something?
So initial findings was that there were, from the hospital, they found 2 white blood cells. But then there was like a second test that was done and on the same samples, and they found no nuclei, which contradicted the original findings of white blood cells. So, I mean, that to me kind of screams also cover up.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to say. Who did that second test?
The government?
It was, I think, I don't have my notes on me right now, but I think it was some government related.
You need to be careful. We're saying the word government too many times.
Let's change that.
Yeah, because
our new word is.
We gotta keep an eye on those RMP guys.
We
police and they're a bunch of drunks.
I think I saw a black van parked outside in the front right now.
But that's crazy, dude. But what got me though towards the end was when he was talking about how that was a transport vessel.
Yes. So like that's what the word matrix meant there.
Whatever contained was it was just the actual vehicle, and whatever was contained in there, it was no longer in there.
No, well, so I don't quite fully understand. I'm not really an expert on like biology related topics or chemistry either, but there was so I
got questions, Ian. Come on, man.
I had
to make me look it up while I'm taking a dump. Man.
Or addition or subtraction, for that matter.
Grammar. What else?
I had to Google the word matrix because I know what it means in algebra, and I know what it means
it's when you can bend over backwards when they're shooting at you.
I know what it means in movies. Yeah, I don't know what it means when it comes to human biology or related.
But that was kind of crazy because like, if we start thinking about it, like, and this might be kind of gross or not, but like, I mean, like, is that the same way? That's how like, say like, what are we going through now? Everybody's panicking about what?
Coronavirus.
The coronavirus.
I mean, that fear might be over by the time this.
Hopefully, maybe. But they're talking. Okay, but
maybe
like,
not. Maybe it's just the beginning.
Maybe it's just the beginning. Who knows?
But he's talking about the gelatinous that vessel that it was. So like, say like, there's a germ wrapped in our mucus or something like that, and when we cough or we sneeze or whatever, can it be transported like that also? Like the mucus may contain that contagion in there, or
yeah, I mean, I guess it can really.
So that's like biological too, right? So we're looking at the biological warfare.
I think it's the same principle.
Yeah.
Or and like you said, like I hate to get deeper into this, and it's all conspiracy theories, guys. We're just kind of shooting the breeze, and so you military guys, y'all don't need to listen to this next part. But didn't they say that somebody was missing some kind of contagion or something like that? Or why would you keep something like that though?
Man, I know. I don't.
That's what it is. Yeah. Well, okay, wait. I take it back.
Why would you?
Because you are studying maybe what a virus is, or so. Like you go to what is it here? The Southwest Research. Now they have those different levels of like you have anything from H1N1 all the way up to Ebola and HIV and whatever, however they have whatever they're doing their research on. So, man, maybe we should talk to them fellas and see how that rolls. Like it is, oh man, my mind is blown completely, man. I must start hitting the tequila, Jazz. Fuck that.
Well, and I'm wondering too, like, I wonder if there were more people that kept samples out of curiosity.
That's true.
That's true.
Because supposedly, I don't know how credible this is, but there was that second source that I had talked about from that woman who was writing on that website. She said that she had kept the samples, and then she was the one who sent it off for further testing to that person at the end of the story who said that he believes it was man-made and it was done intentionally.
Yeah.
She kept them, and then she sent them off.
Yes, your dad, Kory, man, shit. I mean, he would know something a little bit about that.
So I'm just
working on planes. Somebody took a dump out of a plane. No, that's not feasible.
What do dumps look like when they're in the plane?
I don't know.
Oh.
What does it look like when they hit your windshield? Like gelatinous.
Yeah. That's true. Maybe all the color came out of it on the way down or something.
Yeah, it's going so fast that the brown came out of it, right?
Oxidized or some bullshit. No shit.
The one guy that's making a trip every 7 times, man. I gotta take a shit. I'll be back.
He's like, yep, it's that time right here.
It's that time again.
They have trucks as soon as the plane lands. They go and hook up and empty the labs.
Yeah.
So they call them
So not possible.
Yeah.
Dad.
I don't even know how they would dump it, honestly. I don't think there's even a... I don't know.
Just flush it and they go...
That might be an emergency thing, I thought.
Maybe,
but I thought there is one for the fuel, isn't there? Or...
Is that you?
No.
What the... No.
Oh, my God. Somebody...
I swear it's not, man.
Again, that's the third time already.
Did somebody open a bag of chicharrones? Pork rind opening bag right there.
Oh, man. I haven't felt it yet. I'm preparing myself.
It'll work its way that way probably in a little bit.
I promise it. Hey, you give me the stink eye too, man.
Or did
Yeah,
it
probably
start
him,
from that
cabrón. Hey, you, cabrón.
Oh, God.
But yeah, I think the most likely thing it was a test of some biological warfare type of weapon. I mean, I'm not gonna rule out aliens, but
you never know what that shit could be.
Again, like I said, when it comes to a government cover-up, you don't know what.
Yeah. We agreed to
supplement, whatever, supplement,
Flubberment
cover-up.
I thought I heard somebody outside just yell, "Shoot the moon!"
They're on to us. Shut it down. Shut in the laptop. Gotta go, guys.
Wait, take your evidence, right?
Hey, when it comes to a cover-up, you never know.
I lived up there around that time, too.
Did you?
Wait, where was it? What
Even
time?
the gelatinous stuff all around the neighborhood.
I lived like a couple
I thought
miles
you
away.
meant on the moon.
I would have kept that shit in my freezer, right?
Something just to know, like in a jar or something, or like a metal
Mason
container.
jar, for
So you
sure.
can do some DNA testing on it later.
Mm-hmm.
It's all frozen. It's thawed out. Yeah. Man, that's crazy, man. This is what we missed,
Yeah,
man.
that was cool.
We missed it, Ian.
Thank you.
I can't wait for the next
Ian's
one.
gonna
Awesome.
come back with a bigger and better one.
Whoa, pressure, Jeff. Pressure. Whoa.
All right. We have one more.
Yeah, saved from a killer by a ghost. This is a good story, too.
Okay, this next story comes to us from Miss No Name. Miss No Name writes in, RMP team, you keep me entertained. Your podcast is my Saturday night sitting on the couch eating popcorn. I love listening to you. My story is rated R and may not be suitable for younger viewers, or in our case, listeners. When I was about 16 years old, I was a bit on the wild side. I loved the older men, like in their 20s, mainly because they had cars and jobs and were pretty much settled already. One day, my dad was unable to pick me up from school, so he left a message with the school office for me to catch a ride with a friend or on the city bus home. My friend Terry had left early for work, so I decided to take the city bus. I never took the bus and wasn't too sure how to get home. I figured I would ask the bus driver once the bus came. I sat at the bus stop with a few other teenagers, still trying to figure out which bus goes by my house, when a red Charger pulls up in front of me and the guy asked if I want to ride. He was in his late 20s or early 30s. He seemed like a decent looking guy, well dressed, handsome, and I loved his car. I saw a cross hanging from his rearview mirror, so the young naive me thought he looked harmless enough. I got into the car. He talked the whole time about my school, my friends, his work, where he went to church, and about his mother. I felt comfortable with him. He dropped me off at my home. I was a bit sad because he didn't ask for my phone number. He just dropped me off, wished me a good day, and drove away. That same night, my dad got home with some groceries and asked me to help bring them in. I went outside and right away I noticed a red Charger sitting across the street. Again, naive. It brought a huge smile to my face. I took the groceries inside and looked out the window. The Charger was gone. The next morning I got ready for school waiting for my friend Terry to pick me up. I heard her honk, so I ran out to meet her. And I see the red Charger sitting again across the street. On the way to school, I see the red Charger following us. Once we get to the school, I tell my friend Terry to go on ahead of me. I'll be there shortly. I ran up to the red Charger and see Sam smiling at me and asked him if he was following me. He just laughed and asked me if I wanted to play hooky. Without answering, I run around to the passenger side door and get in. Again, he's making delightful conversations and asked me if I was hungry, thinking, okay, he's going to take me to eat, so I said yes, I'm a little hungry. We drove maybe 20 minutes and come to a house. He looks at me, and I guess he saw the surprised look on my face. Like, what are we doing here? He said he makes a mean breakfast and got out of the car before I could decline. It was an old house, but very nicer and very clean inside. Sam went to cooking and talking again, making me feel comfortable. I asked if I can use the restroom. He pointed me to the direction, which was at the end of a long hallway. Looking into the other rooms as I walked down the hallway, everything was spotless and so organized. I used the restroom, but as I sat there, I thought I could hear a female crying softly. Not sure where it was coming from, I finished my business and looked outside the window, but I didn't see anyone. Then I hear a female voice whisper like it was crying out for help, in a whisper. Scared, I walked fast back to the kitchen. I asked Sam if anybody lived there with him. He said, I live alone. After we finished eating, Sam asked if I would like to watch TV. Instead of walking to the living room, he walked me to his bedroom and turned on the TV, louder than I would have liked it. I started to get a little uneasy. He starts to kiss me gently. One thing leads to another. He started asking me to do some bizarre things I've never heard of. And later, I come to find out that people call it BDSM. He enjoyed giving and receiving pain. Being very naive, I told myself, I'll just finish this day off and just won't see him again. That experience went on the whole day. Afterward, he told me to get dressed and he would drop me off at school. Sore, I struggled to get dressed and heard the female's voice again, saying, help me. It sounded like it was coming from the room. I looked over to Sam. He's talking to me and getting dressed. Then he turns off the TV. Then I hear the word help again with sobbing. I told Sam, do you hear that? He said, hear what? Then he tells me to hurry up, not so pleasantly anymore. I go to the bathroom to clean up. Looking in the mirror, I see my face and neck were super red. Trying to fix myself the best I can, I look in the mirror again, and I hear what sounded like a soft scream right in my ear say, get out. I hauled my ass out of the restroom. Sam just looked at me and says, let's go. He dropped me off at school. I see my friend Terry walking to the car and asked me where I had went. I lied to her and said I hung out with my friends at the mall. 2 days passed and I was relieved that I didn't see Sam or his car anymore. But on the third day, Terry called me saying she wasn't going to school and wouldn't be able to give me a ride. And my dad had already left for work. So I walked to the bus stop knowing I was going to be late for school. I look up and I see the red Charger. I stood up and started walking back towards my house. Sam got out of his car, walked fast up to me and grabbed my arm with a big smile on his face, being Mr. Nice Guy again. He said, let me take you to school. I said, no, I'll take the bus. But he kept pulling my arm towards the car, telling me, Don't be silly, I'll take you. Scared because no one was around and because he was grabbing my arm pretty hard. I got into the car, praying he would take me to school. But 20 minutes later, we were back at his house and straight to the room. It was even more violent and painful and seemed longer than the last time. While we were busy doing this thing, I look up and see what appeared to be a young female at the door of his room. And then she walked away. I jumped up and asked Sam, "Who was that?" He looks towards the door and tells me, "No one's here, I'm alone." When we were finished, I went to the restroom. And again, I looked terrible. My neck even had a bruise around it. Trying to comb my hair with my fingers, I started to cry. And then I hear crying all around me. I cover my ears because it sounded like it was in my head. I rushed out of the restroom trying to look normal. And all I see is Sam standing there with this evil look on his face. At that moment, I knew I had to tell somebody about what had been happening to me, or he was going to keep coming for me, and the next time I wouldn't be so lucky to make it out of this house. I smiled nervously at Sam and said, "Are you ready?" He dropped me off at school, and when my dad picked me up, I instantly started crying and told him everything. He took me straight to the hospital. The police arrived and I told them everything. I couldn't remember where he lived, but I had a description of his car. It turned out he raped multiple teenagers and killed 2. I was one of the lucky ones. I believe it was the girls he killed that saved me.
Oh, wow.
That was intense.
Was crazy. That was really crazy. If that chick got lucky, man.
I know, I don't know. I mean,
but not only that, I mean, like, yeah, this story had it all, though, man.
Yeah, it
but
did.
like
It almost sounded like I felt like I was watching a movie on TV or something, man.
Right? Lifetime movie.
Yeah, I was thinking of a Lifetime movie, but a good one.
what's that?
They were all good.
Yeah, I know.
The first 48 or whatever.
Oh yeah, first 48.
I need ghosts like that on there, man.
Yeah,
Shit,
right.
help them out.
Man, that is crazy, though, man. I mean, like, what she was hearing and seeing at the same time, and while she was going through things like this. I mean, and then it's kind of hard, too, because she said, okay, well, I'm just going to finish this off and then never see him again. But then he was kind of predatory when he went over there and grabbed her by the arm. He basically threw her in the car.
Yeah.
And, like, you know, man, left her with bruises and shit like that. That's crazy,
man.
you know. So yeah, that's when you hide in your house, man.
Yeah, no kidding, man.
And that's sad too, because you basically have to, man.
Yeah.
If not, you know. But like this guy got away with, I think she said that
2 murders.
2 murders, and that he raped several teenagers. Man,
Yeah,
you know. The good thing is, I looked at, I did text her back, and I asked more. Like I wanted to know a little bit more about it.
Mm-hmm.
She said that he got a life sentence.
Oh, dude,
Yeah, he got a life sentence, but that the lady, I guess what she's talking about is one of the ladies was named Joanne or something like that. It was Joanne. That's what she put on there, but like I guess that's what she was trying to say, and her name was Joanne. That's all she put. So I'm thinking that's what she's talking about. The lady either at the door when she saw while she was getting violated or whatever,
Right.
and or the ones that were whispering in her ear, telling her to get out and stuff like that. Man, that's crazy.
Man, that's true though. But to be saved by a ghost, man, that's cool. And
Yeah.
like a ghost is telling you.
At
get
least
out
they're
of this place,
speaking
man.
up, saying like, "Hey, man, this guy, he ain't right, man," and his breakfast ain't all that.
Yeah.
But didn't we have a case like this before too?
That's what we were saying. We were talking about that.
It was another situation where a guy was like a little too rough, and then there was a ghost saying "get out," and then the girl got out, and it turned out that the guy had killed people before. We got a story similar
I
to this.
thought we had a story similar to this already. I hope we're not doing the same story twice.
Well, no, because I think that story they were adults though. Everyone involved was actually an adult. I thought for that story.
Because I remember, I'm pretty sure we didn't do this one yet.
No.
But that'd be funny. We do it twice, right?
Well, if you heard this one already, well, we're
You
good.
give a bonus.
You get a different take on it this time.
We'll just change the names and say it's another story.
No, I don't think.
No, I know, we didn't-
we haven't covered this one,
but it's just weird though. Yeah, it's.
But we've covered a lot of strange things and crazy things, but this is one of those too.
Well, and the other thing too is, I don't. I hope this doesn't come off the wrong way, but it's like, you know, taking the best out of a bad situation. It's almost like it was
a
kind
learning
of
experience.
No. Well, it's
A learning
almost,
experience. You got beat.
well, I mean, for sure, it's a learning experience, but that's not where I was going with it. Is that it's almost, in a certain way, a good thing that it was her. That because she reacted, I mean, it was late, but she did react.
I know
the
what
right
you're talking
way,
about. Yeah,
and she got the guy put behind bars.
That she had the strength and the will to actually report this. Like she knew that it was going south.
Yeah. And that there were other girls before her who got killed.
Yeah.
And if it was somebody else, they might not have had the will or the strength or the smarts to do that when she did.
And I know it sounds kind of hokey, but like in a way, she is kind of like she's the one who got him behind bars. So you know,
savior.
Yeah,
She's
actually,
proud of that?
yes, and the hard time that she had to go through just to get there. But that's the thing too.
I mean,
man.
you wish it didn't happen to her, but at the same time, I mean, you're glad that Sicko got put away.
Do you think though, Ian, that we're talking about this? Do you think that? Well, I don't want to say that because I pull the reins back. But maybe if just that's the way this situation ended up, and like there's good and evil always fighting at the same time, that she was maybe directed, like they had, maybe good and evil were fighting, and it's like, well, maybe good said, oh, let's try. You're gonna do it to her, and then like the evil said, yeah, we're gonna do it to her, and maybe there was a big will and a big plan, like, hey, well, man, I don't know what I'm talking about.
How much have you had to drink? No, I'm just kidding.
I'm afraid to say that because I do pray and I start thinking about what I'm talking about, but I guess maybe it was destiny, kind of, you know, and it's like you said, you don't want to say thank God that he found her, but thank God he was stopped, yes, and that she did have the guts and the you know the balls to actually end it, you know, and that's something awesome, you know. But she did actually go through some bullshit,
right?
But and then too, man, you know, she's walking out with bruises on her neck and beat up and whatever the hell he does, you know. Right. And she was the lucky one, so that's weird. That's you know you know,
man, no kidding, yeah.
And she said that she's happily married and stuff like that now, so good for her. You know, everything's going good for them, and that you know, God bless them, but. Oh man, I guess that's how you have to, and that's not a good, you know. I don't know what to say about that, but you know,
it's kind of that's different. That's pretty sad because that's not a ghost story, really. I mean, there was a ghost involved in it, but I mean, you know, it's pretty tragic what happened to her.
Yeah.
I mean, so that's good. She got out, you know, good. I mean, everything turned out all right,
but you know what? I gotta say this, and this is probably not very, but him. She said that he was into pain and agony too.
Yeah.
Do you think he's in the best
place? Yeah.
You know,
his BDSM now, man. I tell you what.
Yeah, you think he's actually in heaven right now? I think, man. But that's sad too, man.
Man,
they should have put him in a low where he has to just like. He has to work at a tax office or something every day, and
put him in solitary confinement.
Yeah, that would have right there. That would have, but yeah, and we're making light, but that's the way we're. It's like we always say though too. We're not really making light. It's kind of creepy that when we run into these stuff that we have to laugh about it, but it just makes it, you know, just take. It's easier to swallow that pill while we're laughing, you know.
Right.
But definitely, it's not. It is something horrible. But man, you know, God bless you, Mrs. No Name.
All right.
Yes, that's what she had. So
right,
God bless you, you know, and your strength and your willpower and your courage.
And the ghost that saved her too.
Yeah. Yes, and the ghost that saved her also. Yes. So you know. This is where I was getting at also. It's like, okay, the house retained something.
Yeah, right, yeah.
It retained something. Like it was.
That's true.
Yeah, so if the murders, I'm almost positive, happened there. So it retained that spirit or that terrible event that happened there. So it's like they say, you know, and some of the ghosts and the hauntings that we cover most of the times is that some kind of tragic or haunting happened. But these were helpful, more intelligent than anything. And it's weird, you know.
That was not residual.
Yeah, and this has nothing to do with nothing. It's and you know what? Thank you, Miss No Name, for your courage and all that. You are awesome. That was an awesome story, and I hope you have no more like that. I hope the next one you have is a good ghost story.
Yeah, right. I'm kidding. Yeah.
Well, in a way, I mean, it kind of was a good ghost.
It was a good
ghost.
But I mean, like you know, I don't know, something where she wakes up and you know she's in like Candyland or something, like, you know, yeah. But this is weird because I was reading, and I've read it before, and this has nothing to do with nothing. It's just like because we're talking about the one that I'm hoping to get one day. It's like I know we're doing the bar scene, but where tragic happenings happen, and the ghost events that happen at them. We're talking about like the Japanese tsunami, even Sri Lanka, and all the big, the one before the Sri Lanka tsunami, the hurricane. Well, these are all weather related, so maybe we could do one like that. The Hurricane Katrina. All those places, 9/11,
yeah.
All these tragic events, they have some sort of ghost story that's affiliated with them. You can, if you don't believe me, look them. You gotta believe everything on the internet.
Yeah.
But I was I was looking at some of the hotels, and this is gonna be real quick. There was one by the name of I don't know why I was looking to this because California has a whole bunch of cool ones. They have the the Roosevelt. I can't remember where that's at.
The what? The
Roosevelt?
Roosevelt is...
It's like this, the Cecil also is in California. I can't remember where the Roosevelt was.
I thought the Roosevelt is right there by Hollywood, or...
Okay, then it's in California also.
Yeah, I think so.
So
I might be wrong on the city.
I mean, all those have some kind of... And then, this one just real quick. It's one called the St. Francis Hotel in San Francisco. What happened there was, back in the day, the silent era movie theaters, the silent movie era in the 20s and such.
Right.
They had this huge, and I mean by huge, I mean he was huge, but he was like I don't know who's the big actor now. I would say Mel Gibson. Yeah, he was the Mel Gibson but like look at him now, and same shit happened to him too. There's this big fat dude by the name of Fatty Arbuckle. I don't know if you ever heard of him.
Yeah,
Fatty Arbuckle. His name was Roscoe Conklin Arbuckle. I mean, I don't know. His mom must have hated him or something, man.
Hey, it was a different time. That was probably a badass name.
Yeah, I named him Roscoe. You know, I was like, where do you find that? I don't know. It sounds like a vegetable, man. Anyway, yeah, what are you eating? Roscoe's. Conklin too. What did you name that? Yeah, he's always hitting his head. Conk. Anyway, they had him. He was like huge, man, back in the day, and like, and he was huge on top of. He was a fat dude. I mean, Fatty Arbuckle, man. He didn't even use his name.
Huge, popular, and then huge.
Yes, both, and like he was supposed to be. Yeah. Oh, and the thing about him is like, hey, there was some scandalosos back then too in the 20s. And everybody thinks, oh man, it was all like that was proper 20s. Stuff. Hell yeah, there was a roaring 20s. So what happened with this guy is he was having a party. So he met up with this lady named Virginia Rappe. I think that's what it was. Rappe. I don't know. Rappe.
I think Rappe. Yeah, it sounds right.
I don't know. Right. That's how stupid and drunk I am. Her name is Virginia Rappe. Rap or anyway, she was one of those like I guess like a movie groupie. You know, like she wanted to break into Hollywood, sort of like the Black Dahlia. You know, like the same thing that happened. So there's always no good in that's gonna happen with ladies like that. I don't mean that they're aiming for. It's just that people use them. You know, that's what they just. And the same thing. What happened with her was, she got invited to that party with Fatty Arbuckle. Okay, long story short. She was already having problems, man. Like, she was an alcoholic, and then she already had problems with the lady parts, I guess, you know. But a lot of people didn't know that she was having bladder problems, too. So here comes Fatty Arbuckle, right? And this dude, I mean, like, if you see his face, man, he looks like a boy, man. Like, like his face looks like, like you want to just grab his cheeks and pinch him. Yeah, like, ay, que chulo, mira los caches, cabrón. And like, he was like, stop. But he was like a tascado, though. I mean, in real life, he liked that ass, man. And like, and that's the thing, too, because he was just some fat, lazy guy that thought that everything was owed to him, man. And so he goes and supposedly... he goes into a room with this lady, and obviously, I think what happened was she was already feeling sick, and so they were saying, I guess she was feeling sick. Yeah, she was already feeling sick, but she was. So this guy goes into the room with her, and like they said that he raped her, right? So, and they were saying that, man, she got a ruptured bladder. Okay, because she was already sick, and whatever she was sick from, and then plus the alcohol that she was drinking caused it to get worse. But the clincher was this big fat motherfucker laying on top of her. Oh, if you don't believe me, read up on it. It says that's one of the things that he busted her like it ruptured because he was on top of her. The guy was huge, man. So and she was like they said he was like over 300 pounds, and that she was like like 100 pounds, or like something like that. So, and his fat ass didn't do no work. He just kind of mounted her and just laid there. I was like,
Why would he want to be on? Why he wanted to be on top? Oh my god!
That's all I'm saying, man. I mean, so he wound up. She agonized for like 3 days, man, and then she finally died.
Oh my god!
Yeah. What? And then she told her friend, like, hey, this dude. He raped me, and on top of that, he exploded my bladder. I don't know. Whatever. Okay, she didn't know. She didn't know her. She just got sick, and she was dying. And she's like, well, she was trying to say, hey, man, this guy, he raped me. That's what she was saying. But they didn't know. But they were saying, with his weight, it contributed to, anyway, that's, and it's a ruptured bladder. Oh, my God. And this guy, and you can tell, man, you just mouthing her, smelling like beer and bean dip, man. Just like, get off of me, fucking sweaty asshole, man. But, he ain't, man. So, so anyway, the guy was huge. On top of being huge, he was huge in the box office, man. He was making.
So did he get away with it?
Yes and no. Okay, what happened was, and they were saying that he was making the big money. 1921, he was making 14 grand. Back then, that was like 200 grand, per, so it was, and back then, it wasn't like the way they have these millionaires now, but that was still big money. They were saying that, man, nobody wanted to touch him. And he was rubbing elbows with like Charlie Chaplin and other, the silent era films, and that he was a big deal. And then, man, after that happened, man, nobody wanted to touch him with a 10-foot pole, man. He wasn't even doing insurance commercians, man.
So that
come on QVC or something like
insurance commercials back in 1921.
They had them with the fishing shows, man. Yeah, Bill Dance with Fatty Arbuckle, man. No, I don't want that dude on my boat, man.
That's justice.
Yeah, well, man, that dude died at like 46 because he had like a heart attack in his sleep because he was, like I said, he was huge. Yeah, and he didn't take care of himself, but. I mean, he got the easy way out, but man, nobody wanted to deal with him. But where I was going with that is that supposedly that hotel is haunted by that Virginia rape or rapee or whatever her name is. That's St. Francis. St. Francis.
The Roosevelt, I looked it up. That's in Manhattan too, or it's in New York City.
Okay, there's one called the Knicker.
The Knicker. Yeah.
Nicker. That's what I said.
Hey, you better cut that shit out.
It was like, Knicker, like Knickerbocker, but it's short.
Yeah.
So it's actually called a Knickerbocker, man. I got a lot of editing to do on that one.
Casper, we won't say that.
No.
We won't say that,
though. But like I said, we'll talk about rapes. We'll talk about we'll talk about murders. But hey.
We'll talk about
racism. We don't go there. Well, I mean, but the thing about that is like that they had. I'm going back. I'm done with that. I'm going back with the But all those are neat because all of those haunted motels. I mean, they are they're haunted. Yeah, and they got great stories behind them. But that's why I was going back with the one that this girl was saying because. Well, there was no one to help her though, man. I guess like when she sees a fat guy trying to mount a little lady, she's gonna pop out of nowhere. Cuidado con tu bladder. That's messed up. Shut up, Panzón.
Look, the ghost comes out like, hey, that's a
big guy there, man. But you know what though? That's a terrible way that she went, man. I mean, we're over there laughing our asses off, man. I know I am, but that's terrible. Like she was in agony for like 3 days, man. Just so he didn't get a good rap over that, man. He got finished up, man. His career was over after that. Yeah. no kidding. Unintended. Anyway, I don't know why I had to mention that one, but yeah, with the name like Fatty, it can't be good, man.
Yeah, no. Fatty Arbuckle. Yeah, okay.
Anyway, I think anybody?
No, I think we pretty much covered everything. Man,
full range of it.
But so if you guys have stories, man, I guess we can get into that. If you guys have stories, man,
or anything for the sobering thought segment.
Yeah, yeah, there you go. If you have any ideas for sobering thought segments, that'd be great too. That's actually a great idea. Or if Cash would like to say anything.
What you got to say, Cash?
Now he hushes. But if you guys got a story, please, we'd love for you to call them in. Man, what's that phone number, Rob?
That phone number is 210-901-8666. And remember, folks, that is a 3-minute call. So if you do have a story that goes over 3 minutes, please call us back and let us know that it's part 2 or part 3 or part 4. How many times, however long you got to go. And just let us know that you're part 2 or part 3 of that story that you're telling before, and we'll edit that bad boy and get it out there, sounding like a professional. And you guys are the shy type, and y'all want to put it in on our website. What is that website, Dave?
The website is rigormortisparanormal.com. We have a page here that says submit a story, and just click on that button, and you can write your story down and submit it right to us, or you can just simply email us. At rigormortisparanormal@gmail.com. And either way, whichever way you'd like to get it to us, please send us your stories. We'd love to have them. And another thing too, share us. If you can share us with your on your social media platforms, anything, whatever it is that you got, it really spread the word, out, man. Yeah, that's like golden to us.
Oh yeah.
Get us out there and
also too, man. You guys who find that extra time when y'all do this, man. That come in either Instagram or give us that little shout out on Gmail or however we do it. We love that also. The little that always gets me like, look, they said something good about us.
Cool. Or like on YouTube too, where they put comments or wherever. Yeah. I mean, wherever it's at, man, that's awesome.
Yeah, keep that up, man. We love that, man. Shit, and we will mention your name if you do that.
Yeah, definitely. That'd be cool. Man, I guess, huh? Patreon, yeah, man, yeah, we are starving artists, but
I ain't eaten since Christmas.
Yeah.
That's a lie.
Yeah, shut up.
I can see that's a
lie. When you're bigger since Christmas.
I know, I just want to get during the holidays.
That's horrible. No, but hey, it does take money to make these podcasts, and not a lot, but a lot. But still, the thing is, man, if you guys can donate anything, $1 a month, that'd be awesome, or whatever, even just $1. I mean, every little bit helps us keep going and helps us buy beer, mainly. That's all good, man. But and Cheetos and stuff that don't make us fart, during the podcast. The good ones instead of the cheap stuff. But anyway,
Cheetos, not the
I don't know. I can't think of
the Beatos.
Yeah, Speedos.
The Speedos.
Gross. But anyway, if you guys help us out with that, or again, just sharing us is plenty enough, man.
Yes.
We definitely like that for you guys to share your stuff with us, or send us your stories, whatever. I don't know. Anything else, guys?
Help us.
Thanks a lot. We thank you for sharing your time with us and listening to us. And anyway, I guess that's it for tonight. Take care.
Guys.
Bye-bye.
Pseudo Pseudomon... I can't get my last part. I wouldn't blame you for leaving it on. Pseudomonas fluorescens and Enterobacter